The reason why I'm having this rally slash protest is in protest of the animal shelters in New York City. Um, the animal shelters in New York City do not do what they're supposed to do for the animals. Um, they say they're in animal care, but they don't care about the animals in the least. Um, Actually, the second word of that phrase, control, is more like what they do. Um, we the people want reform. We want no kill now. We pay for these killings with our tax dollars. The shelters of New York City get funded by the taxpayers of New York City. So anybody who lives here in New York City, spends money in New York City, whatever is taxed in New York City, which is pretty much everything is taxed in New York City, uh, some of that money of your tax dollars goes into salaries, uh, into different departments, different agencies of the city of New York. You have the Department of Health that is in contract with the shelters of New York City. They oversee the shelters in New York City. They basically control the shelters in New York City. We want to take the New York City shelters and have them make their own organization separate from the Department of Health. We don't want the Department of Health involved with the shelters of New York. The Department of Health should be involved with the citizens of New York and their health, not the health of the animals. They never did anything with the animal care and control shelters ever before. Until recently they got involved when they signed a contract with the animal care and control shelters. What is going on right now is, because they're in contract with DOH, there's no accountability for anything that's done at the animal care and control shelters of New York. No accountability as far as what goes on in these shelters, how the animals are treated, the care that they're given. So for that, I believe that we should dismiss them with any connections with the animal shelters in New York. The Mayor's Alliance, she's an organization that has no connection to the mayor's office of New York at all, but she calls her organization the Mayor's Alliance of New York, Animal Alliance, and the woman that runs that, and the woman who is the founder, her name is Jane Hoffman. We would also like to separate those two from each other and let the ACCs of New York City become an independent entity, separate from the Department of Health and the Animal Alliance, the New Hope Partnership rescues. There are a lot of things such as the time frame, how far you can live to adopt an animal, just a lot of rules and regulations that have been put down by the Department of Health and by the elite, the directors. The director of the facilities of your shelters in New York is Risa Weinstock. She's an attorney. And I forgot to mention that Jane Hoffman is also an attorney. So you have two attorneys overseeing an animal shelter, to which I don't understand why attorneys run an animal shelter. They should have people in office or in that facility that are caring, compassionate, and do the right thing for the animals. I know a lot of people say it's a business, and in a way it is kind of a business, but they're making it a business to make money from and profit. That is not a reason to do this. That is not a reason to kill healthy adoptable animals every day of the week. With the exception of Sunday, wow, they gave them a break. But what they do, if they don't have a list, because they have a list, let me just clear that up. The animal shelters in New York City have a list that they put out every night. They put a list of cats, they put a list of dogs. It's called, I call it the kill list. They call it the at-risk list. I disagree with that. To me, it's a kill list. They may have a couple of chances on that kill list and get rolled over, but eventually they will be killed if no one has pulled them. It is my opinion that the people who are the advocates, many of you are here today, are the ones that do all the work for the animal care and control shelters of New York City. The advocates are on that computer every day, fighting, sharing, fostering, adopting, trying to put these animals out there to try to get them saved. And that's why I'm here, because I fight for the animals, and that's the only reason why I'm here, for the animals and nothing else. Thank you. I'm not here for any glory. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for justice for the animals. I think that we all need to work together as a village. It takes a village to bring them down. New York City is a very powerful city, and they are very corrupt in certain areas. I don't care what someone says, but there's a lot of corruption going on. And a lot of that has to do with the animals at the shelter. Why would you kill a healthy dog or cats when they have adopters waiting for them? Why would you kill them for kennel cough, which is a treatable disease, of which it's a cough. It's a common cough for dogs. Why would you kill a cat for upper respiratory infection? That is also a cold for cats. Why would you do that when you have people willing to adopt, when you have people there wanting to? I have examples of people that tried to contact the ACC a couple of days before the animal was killed. Mary, I have here from Holland, actually has the poster board for these 3 dogs that were just killed recently. Thank you. These are, the top one is Snow, the middle one is Humpty Dumpty, and the bottom one is Brownie. Okay? Just talking about this makes me want to cry right now because they didn't deserve to die. But they're dead. They were killed. They were killed because the ACC called them dangerous, aggressive, behavioral problems. These dogs did not have behavioral problems. Snow was an owner surrender. Snow behaved well in front of the owner surrender when she was turning the dog in. The dog quieted down and huddled when the ACC employee showed up to take Snow. I'm thinking that maybe Snow knew what was going to happen and she didn't want to leave. This kills me talking about this. Humpty Dumpty, there's something wrong with this dog. He was very loving. His tail wagged. He wanted to give people kisses, licking them, jumping up for affection. But they said he was aggressive. They killed him. He was only on the list one night, and he's dead. And we have Brownie. Brownie's family had to give her up. She was an owner surrender also. I want you guys to keep in mind, owner surrender dogs will be killed the minute you walk out the door. That is their option. That is their choice if they decide to do that. Once you give up your rights to your animal, they own them. They can kill them at any time. So please don't believe the hype when you bring your animals into the ACC shelter and they tell you a pretty sugar-coated story about how they're going to make sure they try to find a home for your animal. It's not true. It's not true at all. But people in New York City are not aware of this. And that's why I'm here, because all you people from New York and you live in New York City, you need to open your eyes up to what's going on with shelter animals. It's a corrupt fundraising business for the people that run it, the elite. The director, Risa Weinstock, she has galas every year. They're called Christmas galas. They do fundraising. Where does that money go? You ask them, nobody will tell you where the money is. They got, thank you, honey. They got $8.5 million, I think it was 2015, to renovate the adoption facility in Manhattan's shelter on 110th Street between 1st and 2nd Avenue. I want you to take a ride over there. You tell me if you see the adoption area, if it's changed. But those of you who don't know, I'll just let you know. There's a garage off to the right side of the building. That garage was supposed to be renovated. And here we are, 2018. 3 years later, that garage is still a garage. So where did that $8.5 million go? And it came from capital funding, and that's all they'll tell you. They won't tell you where it came from. It's capital funding. You know what capital funding is? Capital funding is your tax dollars. Capital funding is taxpayers' money. You guys have to wake up. Taxpayers, you're paying for these animals to get killed. You need to be aware of the issues. Some of the issues here are there no full-service shelters in the Bronx or Queens. The general public has no idea the very short amount of time that animal has to be pulled out of there to safety before they're killed. When you put on the kill list, you have 18 hours. They put the kill list out 6 p.m. the night before. You have until 12 noon the next day to save these animals. So that makes all the advocates on the internet, behind their keyboards, whatever, whoever you are, adopt, foster, rescue, 18 hours to save these animals. Do you think that's enough time to save them? I don't think so. People go to work. People work. I work 40 hours a week. I come home every night and I put out the kill list every night. It breaks my heart to see the kill list every night. And it breaks my heart to see the ones that they killed the next day. I also do the updates on all the animals that were killed and saved. I put it out there every night so people can see. I want everyone to be aware of that, of these animals. A lot of them are rolled over a lot. That just tells me one thing, or two maybe. One, it could be that they just want people to think that, hey, listen, we're giving them more than 18 hours, or they're not getting in as many animals as they say. And I know for a fact, I watched an interview with Jane Hoffman, who stated in that interview that yes, we do bring in animals from other states that have overcrowded shelters. And when I speak here, I am speaking the truth, and I'm speaking from my heart. This is not made up, and there are facts behind it that can back it up. Jane Hoffman, in her own words, said they do bring in animals because it's proof. Why roll the animals over so many times? They're in this to make money, not save an animal. When you adopt an animal from the ACC, you are given the option to either let them neuter and spay your animal, or they'll give you a waiver. The waiver is $150. If you don't come back, of which a lot of people don't come back, your dog's never fixed, and that money is supposed to go to a star fund. I don't know where the star fund is. I don't know where the star fund is, but I do know that it doesn't go to the animals. The animals are supposed to get care. They don't get the care that they're supposed to. They have animals that they just put bandages on, basically. And it's my opinion that you don't put a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. I'm sorry. And that's what they're getting, and it's not fair to them. Some of them sit there with broken pelvises, broken legs. They don't get any help. I'd like to know where their heart is and how they could sit in their offices on Park Place downtown and not let this affect them. I'd like to know how they sleep every night while these animals are being killed every day. How could they do this, and how I can't understand it. How do people not wake up and say something? God, I'm so sorry. I'm just very passionate about this, and it really hurts me. And they're not even my animals. I don't even know them. I don't even know these animals, and I cry for them every night. I'm sorry. They kill animals, they say, for space. They have plenty of space, I know. I go to these shelters, I take videos. I was just at the Brooklyn shelter. How long ago was it, Judy? Like a few weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago in Brooklyn. Not in a very good neighborhood either, may I add. They had no cats there. They had at least 20 empty cages. Please tell me where those animals are that you need to kill for space, please. They had plenty of empty cages. They always have empty cages. They had so many empty cages in Brooklyn that they were they put storage in the cages. Now, if you're killing for space, why are you storing why are you putting your storage in cages, empty cages? They have empty cages. I also take videos in Manhattan. But let me go back now and tell you about a story of my last visit to the ACC in Brooklyn. They call the police on me. Every time I go to a shelter, they call the police on me. They don't like me going in there and videotaping. Especially when you surprise them. When you surprise them, they're not expecting you, so things are not going to be up to par. Surprise visits are basically the best thing you can do. More residents of New York should be going to these facilities, videotaping them, staying on top of their butts, and showing them that, hey, we're paying attention, we see what animals are here. They lie on their bios when they write the kill list up every night. They lie. They say that so-and-so is vicious. Well, guess what? What was her name? Sugar Bits? I saw Sugar Bits in Brooklyn. Guess what? She wasn't vicious. And the ironic thing is, when I was at Brooklyn, there were people there looking at animals. One woman said to me, "Why are they all so quiet? Isn't this an animal shelter?" I said, "Do you know why they're quiet? Because now they're giving them drugs." So, you're giving these animals drugs to keep them calm. They get adopted, and when they get home, they're not on the drugs anymore, and they're a totally different dog. So that in itself, the dogs come back. That in itself is a lie, and it's dangerous to the animals themselves and to the people, because they don't know the true nature of this animal they're adopting, because the animal's been on medication. Not only that, the medication dosage that they're giving them, they're giving them like 100 milligrams per 10 pounds of an animal. 100 milligrams of something. You don't even give that to a human being. I'm thinking it's trazodone, right? They're giving them trazodone, tramadol. What are the other ones? Oh, the gabapentin. Oh my gosh. Gabapentin affects your brain. They've been giving 100 milligrams of gabapentin to cats that weigh 10 pounds. You don't even give that to a human that weighs 100 pounds. Why would you give 100? Why would you give 100 milligrams to the animal? And some of them are twice a day by the mouth. Like, really? It just behooves me. I just don't understand it. Well, anyway, that was my visit. And when the woman said, "Why are they all so quiet?" which was, you know what? That's a good point, because we are in a shelter and the animals aren't even making any noise. And they weren't. But anyway, getting back to Sugar Bits, she was there. She's a beautiful dog. And they killed her for aggression. Aggression? So are you just drugging these dogs when they come in to see how much you can give a dog? Like how much it affects them, the dosage? Like, are you experimenting with them? Why are you drugging them like this? I mean, you're an animal shelter, do the right thing. But that's what they're doing right now. So I feel we need to separate the ACC from the Department of Health. We need to move the current people in administration. I was at one of the New York City Council meetings, and I did mention this to them. And the first thing the guy said to me was, "Where do you live?" What does it matter where I live? Everybody in the world knows how the shelters in New York City are run. We have Mary here from Holland. She's very well aware of it. England, the UK, Europe, Germany, they're all very well aware. Let's not forget Italy. No Kill Italy. The New York City Animal Care and Control Shelters blocked an organization called No Kill Italy. They did not want them to have access to their site. So they blocked them because they know that No Kill Italy was making headway, and they didn't like it. They don't want anyone raining on their parade. Uh, No Kill Italy actually stopped them from getting sponsorship from a number of sponsors that they could have gotten money from. But because of No Kill Italy, they pulled out. And for that reason, and because they know that a lot of the advocates are associated with No Kill Italy, they blocked them. What happened to our freedom of speech? What happened to our ability to be able to say what we want without being blocked? You're blocked too, Mary? They block everyone saying anything negative about them because they want to look like a shining star in the eyes of the taxpayers. Don't believe the hype. That's all I can tell you, people. Don't believe the hype. They kill dogs that are up for adoption, that people want to adopt. When they get there, the animal was killed. People that are interested in them, they call, they never get any answers back. What? The foster programs. Let me not forget about that. The foster programs. The ACC has a foster program. They put the dogs out, cats out into foster. When they come back, they go on the kill list. Every animal that they put in foster goes on the kill list. This is not okay. There are people that want to help. There are people that care. There are people that are compassionate. We need to get rid of the present administration. Enough is enough. And this is like all I could do for them, and everybody else is just keep pushing. And numbers. There's power in numbers, people. You need to show up, and you need to show that you support the advocates, because we're all together in this one fight.